this bad boy. All right. So, as always, we got our back to basics. I think it's probably because I canceled last week and, I didn't send out a reminder or anything. So, I just want to see how many people were truly dedicated. So, but in any event, I appreciate you guys being on tonight. I guess what I'll do, as always, if people have any questions, we can go through any questions on products, sales ideas, or anything like that. If not, I'm going to start picking on people because no one wants to hear me talk the whole time. So, does anyone have any questions to kind of kick it off?
I don't know if it's a question as much. So someone called me actually,
That's
and
good.
they have the infamous well, they have a state farm policy, whole life policy, which they're pretty comfortable with that. It's not a whole lot of death benefit.
Yep.
They are looking to write or to replace a Primerica policy.
Okay.
Um, and I'm thinking he wants whole life. Um, he wasn't really clear on the difference in the term policy and the permanent, so I gave him a explanation of that.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess when I talked to him again, he told me he needed to talk next week, so that's why next week. But so we're gonna have to work out maybe how much death benefit he actually needs. He doesn't have any kids. He's not married. He's in his 50s though, and
Okay.
has a couple of houses, so a couple of mortgages, I guess. So
Okay.
just
So,
I don't think I have a question actually. I just need to sit down and get in there.
no, I think that's all great information. So let's kind of play through it. Um, what kind of questions would you ask him? So because I can think of a few ways the conversation can go, but what are you thinking right off the top of your head?
Well, well, of course I know about the no children and that type of thing. I need to get into his income,
Hmm.
how much income he actually has and what exactly he's trying to protect with his death benefit.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe some health questions. He might have, it's somebody I know, so he might have had some health situations that may not be an issue if he's looking for living benefits or not. Um, um, I guess that's the gist of it. Maybe not all of it, but
So
some.
he's not married and has no kids, right?
Right.
Okay. And how much is the Primerica policy right now?
He said it was 125K.
Okay. Okay. And the whole life is how much?
That one was just 25K.
Okay. So all in 150,000. Did he explain to you why he bought the Primerica policy?
Yes, because it was somebody he knew and he was young and
Trying
he
to
was just
help out.
kind of doing him a favor, yeah, and figured, well, I maybe need some insurance and so that's why he went with it. But I don't think he understood what he was buying.
Hmm. Sadly, that's typically the case, because obviously our products aren't bought, they're sold, so that is running into the situation there. Um, so I guess some of the extra questions would be, which are still important, is he like, what's his salary? Do you know offhand or net
No, that's
worth
one
and
of the
things of
things that we have to get
okay.
into what his income is. And I don't even know what he's looking to pay for a premium yet. But
Well, yeah, I was gonna say premium tolerance is relevant, but you know, when you think about certain things that you're going to ask him, uh, this is where you becoming the subject matter expert is going to make sense. So, um, the things that I would ask him is how are you looking for your retirement? Like, what are you doing?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Okay. So hopefully he'll say I have some type of 401k or something like that. Um, and that always leads to, do you have a old 401k from a prior employer? Something like that, because then we could start talking about guaranteed income, or some type of leverage that we could play off of prior accounts. A good example, I had gotten a referral for a client to sell them insurance. So they wanted to buy term insurance. They wanted to spend $80 a month, but they wanted a 35-year $1 million term on the husband. And I was like, well, you either have to shorten the duration of term or you have to reduce the face amount because you're not getting $80 for the term. Well,
Mm-hmm.
after, months of conversation, we not only settled on permanent insurance, so they just bought the Value Plus Protector because it has the return of premium and the living benefits, but also uncovered that they have four 401ks from prior jobs. And Michael, you'll like this. They're from the Tampa Bay Rays, the Boston Red Sox, and one other MLB team. Not those shitty Dodgers. Kidding.
Oh wow.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's
Um,
back.
I know, B2B, baby. So, but yeah, so what basically turned into what was originally like a $80 per month case turned into a $10,000 permanent policy target premium to meet their needs, of course. Again, just obviously talking comps, but it does meet their needs. And we are consolidating all of the 401ks into an annuity so they don't lose money and have it grow. And that'll turn out to be about 36K in comp too. So, when you ask these questions, you know, they're looking at the linear, like what they've seen for the last umpteen years, but you have
Mm-hmm.
to kind of give the questions to expand their horizon. What is your goal for this insurance policy? What is your goal for retirement? Are you on your way? What are you doing? Do you have um, old 401k or another IRA or something that you're not monitoring that maybe we should take a look at?
Yeah.
Because all of that matters. And so when I think about a 50-year-old in a checklist, you have protection. And to be quite frank, for him, protection, it's a toss up. He's got no wife, he's got no kids. Who cares, right? But on the flip side is if he has multiple properties, if he has a charitable resolution, if you will, like who's going to get his stuff after he's gone? Is it, nieces and
Yeah.
nephews?
Yeah, that's what I asked him. He has nieces and nephews and other siblings. So I was like, so are your nieces and nephews gonna be your beneficiaries or and I was gonna have that conversation with them. It's like who's taking care of you? Just in case
Yep.
you don't get married, who's taking care of you? So kind of
That
lean
was
into the
go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is so retirement. Well, let's just back up. So basic will and trust, kind of deal,
right.
right? So get your affairs in order, and that will be your playbook to walk through the rest of it, really, too.
Yeah,
So, when you talk about foundation, retirement should be crucial for him. And if he doesn't have any retirement set up, again, we can do a minimum $100 a month into a Roth IRA with NLG to get him at least something to start. And then, as you kind of alluded to, and I agree, is the long-term care. So,
yeah,
who's going to take care of you if something happens? Who's going to lift you out of bed? uh, stuff like that. You're going to need some type of home health care. And let's be honest, if you say, well, my niece or my nephew is going to come over, my brother or sister is going to come over, can they lift you? I mean, is it convenient for them? Do you really want to burden someone else with those concerns? You know, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. I've shown it before when I was wholesaling, and I think I've showed it a couple times, but this is a really good website to have um for LTC. Uh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, genworth.com slash cost of care.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess CareScout bought it, carescout.com slash cost of care. So if you guys I would highly recommend bookmarking this. But the idea, so let's just say, they're in Atlanta proper. Um, and you talk about monthly costs today. So are they lower area, northern area? Where would you say they're kind of around?
Oh, they're in Alabama, in Birmingham.
Oh, why did I think? Why did I think? I'm sorry, Alabama, Birmingham. Sorry, long day. Okay, so you'll see in 2024, in-home care is about 5 grand a month. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In a private nursing home is 9 grand. If you want to spend it with a friend, a new friend for your end of your life time frame, you'll save about 500 bucks.
Oh,
But
wow.
if yeah, so if he's 50 and you think Birmingham is pretty cost efficient compared to other areas. So let's fast forward, let's say 25 years. So you'd be about 75. It's about 20 grand a
Mm-hmm.
month, about
Ooh.
10 grand a month for home health care or home aid. So when you see that, I would use this to give statistical numbers. The idea really is not to scare them, but make them aware because of the fact that, stuff like this is definitely going to happen. Healthcare costs are going to continue to rise. And, there's actually a shortage of healthcare communities. So do you want to be stuffed in with those Medicaid people? It's like basically government welfare for long-term care. Or do you want to be proactive today and ultimately find a way to protect those assets and protect yourself so you could be in the nursing home where they have smiling nurses, water fountains in the front and everyone's happy kind of thing. Uh,
Right.
you know, or if you have relatives who want to see you and you're not in a Medicaid-based location in Birmingham, they might ship you, you know, all the way down to like Mobile or, so it's where they have space. So you control your own destiny when you're proactive in advance. So that's the
Right.
big thing that I would say is important from that standpoint. So again, will and trust can uncover a lot of this, the gaps, if you will, followed by retirement. What are your goals? Ultimately, who's going to take care of you if something happens. Um, so that's kind of how I would position it from the conversation, and
Okay.
ultimately see. And then, budget is always going to be a question, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So if someone finds that the budget that they tell you won't get them what they want, they might find a way. Well, I really do have, this over here. I don't need to do
Mm-hmm.
that. And all of a sudden they'll find ways to make concessions. So there is a benefit of explaining the value first, having them
Mm-hmm.
understand why you're explaining this to them, and then
Mm-hmm.
ultimately letting them figure out what they're going to sacrifice, right? So if they only have a certain dollar amount, we'll figure out what we can do to best support them, but it might not be everything that they're looking for, but it's better than nothing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mhm.
I have well, kind of sort of not really moving on. I talked to somebody else who has
Yeah.
insurance. I haven't looked at it, but he has several life insurance policies. His issue is, which is kind of funny. How do I ensure that when I'm gone, the beneficiaries actually get the money? And he says this because he has preteen aged kids. And he was like, if something happened to me now, I can see now my daddy gonna take all their money.
Yep.
Talk to him about a trust.
Yep.
So I'll
That's
probably go further down the trust rabbit hole with him, but that was his question to me. So,
Yeah, you really need to because like what I've always said, and this I say with high net worth people, because high net worth people want to control their assets always, but it goes for anybody. So if I could show you a way to control your assets from beyond the grave, would you be interested? You
hmm
know, and so you can, depending on the type of trust, you can dictate who the trustee would be. It might not be the father, but they have to be age of majority, usually
right.
18, right? And there could be strict parameters like so many of those like rom-com movies where someone has to find it's like a troubled son who, has a rich father and he dies and then he has to go find a wife before he gets the
Yeah,
inheritance. So stuff like that. I mean, obviously we're not rom-comming it, but we can make trust designs that would be designed to ultimately say, hey, this is meant for this person, for these specific needs, and a trustee is going to pay it out as opposed to having it go directly to the kids.
right,
Um,
right. So I gave him he didn't know about a trust or setting up a trust or what a trust would do. So
mhm.
I'm going to talk to him and his wife about
Yeah.
it. But yeah, that was funny to me.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, and it kind of goes back to what I always say to people is it's so important to have stuff like that set up because everyone's happy and hunky-dory while you're alive, right? But when when you're gone, things can change pretty quickly, and money changes people, sadly, for the worst, in a lot of situations. So. Um, to eliminate any sort of concern or issue, that's why we do what we do. It's to remove any kind of concerns and ultimately find the right goal for the customer. And that in doing so is actually writing it down. Whether you talk to business
Yeah,
owners and things like that, so that kind of stuff is important because if someone's gone, then there's no one there to decipher what you really wanted, and that leads to, the family acrimony. People start fighting over dishes and stuff like that. Hell, my sister has towels and some cups that my parents gave her, which I don't think they gave her. I think she took. My parents are still alive, but just no one says anything. But I just know that if my parents don't have it in writing, my sister's gonna act like it's Christmas and start grabbing stuff. So
oh, no.
I'm just saying, you know,
I've seen it, so I know.
yeah, yeah, you just never know what people are gonna do when someone's gone. And my dad's biggest fear is that us as the three kids are not going to talk to each other once my parents are gone. That's their greatest fear.
Oh, wow.
hmm And so, I'm the executor of the estate, so now I have to divvy up assets upon their passing in an equal manner and stuff like that. So it's a heavy weight when people especially don't have their stuff in order.
Yeah.
Um, so and if we can make two, three, $400, on a simple will and trust package, by all means, it's a great day for everybody. They get what they need. You get paid for your time and services, and then you uncover more assets.
Right.
So, yeah.
A question though, when
Mm.
someone, in his case, he has some policies, I'm not sure what all, and he's willing to look into all of that. How do you take policies that are already in existence and put them into the trust? Or can you do that, or you have to
Well,
change
there's
beneficiaries, or what?
yeah, so there's a couple things with that, depending on the type of trust.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's rules. So there's a look back provision, or they call it a clawback provision. So it prevents rich people from taking all their money and putting into an irrevocable trust on their deathbed.
Okay.
So it's usually a 5 year look back provision, maybe three. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's either 3 or 5 years. Where if you die in those 3 or 5 years, the money gets clawed back out of your trust and put back into your estate.
Mm,
Okay.
okay. Okay.
So they can change the beneficiary to the trust. They just got to promise everyone they're not going to die for 3 years. I'll use a smaller
Got it.
number.
Got it.
So, so yeah, that's the only thing. Now, what I would also say is, and I'd highly recommend it, is if they're trying to mitigate cost and condense or consolidate the policies, then what I would say is get a statement from them to review. And what I'll say is, as always, I always like to do cheap, shameless plugs. If you go to quotes.valorfs.com,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so this is our quote request form. Um, and I might as well just put that in the chat too. But if you see enforced policy review, okay, so agent name and email, what carrier is the current policy information in, policy type, policy number if you have it, issue date if you have it, client's current age, current death benefit, cash value, surrender value, and just basic stuff. The more information, the better.
Mm-hmm.
But at the bottom here, you have the opportunity to attach in-force illustrations as well as statements.
Okay.
So once you hit submit request, it actually goes to my inbox and I can
Okay.
start working
Okay.
on it. So if you want a complimentary write-up about what they have and you have no idea, that's what I'm here for, is to help with that. So you can get, professional reviews done. And what it does for me is it puts in my email and I'm just going to go on a tiny rant for a second. The thing that drives me nuts is when people send me text messages, which should be emails. Like, hey, I've got this statement and here it is in a text message. And I'm like, I can't read it. So if it goes in my email, it's easier for my old eyes to read it. And I can line item it with other stuff. Because, like, if I check a text message and next thing you know, I forgot to unread it so I can go back to it, then all of a sudden it just gets crazy. So the idea is I built these out to make it easier for everybody to put their quote requests in. So income focused, so accumulation, IULs, you have death benefit focused, term, DI, annuities, long-term care. So we got everything here that you relatively need to kind of get quotes and so that way it'll just simplify the process. So you don't have to be an expert, just collect the data, and everything you really need is right in this system right here. The more information, the better, much like when
Okay.
people are looking for, hey, I got a client who had a heart attack yesterday. Can they get coverage? Well, I'm using bad examples, but what happened? Why did it happen? What medications? All the other stuff. So these are all the questions you need to get a good return on a quote request.
Okay.
So, um, and for those of my MGA partners who are watching this, if you're looking to kind of white label this, we can talk about that too. So, but it's just a way to help simplify the process and help people grow. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So, so yeah, good questions, Tia. Did you have any others or? you
I think
know.
that was it so far.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna pick on Armando because I haven't heard from him in a bit. So what's going on in your world, buddy? What cases you got going on?
Well, I'm working on what we previously talked. I was waiting for you to finish on your trip, but I'm focusing on dentist right now. So I
Are
started
you?
that. Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I started with that already. I've been calling. I've been busy.
Mhm.
So I have a list of almost 600 right now, and it's climbing up every single day.
Okay.
So I'm
So
getting more and more.
so kind of share with others is you're prospecting, you know these people, just a
I don't
little
know
you don't
them.
have to give away all the secrets, but yeah.
Oh,
So
I don't mind. So I'm promoting over social media.
mhm,
I'm creating videos and stuff like that, trying to, hook them up and make them be interested. And being in that field for so many years, I know how they feel. I know what they feel,
mhm,
and I know what the pain. I know it very well because I already went through that. So I know which keys to press in order for them to at least be interested and have a conversation with me. But
mhm.
before I start that part, I needed to sit down with you and find out a few things. Like for example, is there a product that has included disability inside of an IUL or something like that? I don't know if it exists.
I wouldn't, so for a specialty market like dentists, I wouldn't do that. Okay.
Okay.
So a lot of times, and I will knock on them. Multi-level marketing groups will say, "Oh, well, tell them to just cancel their DI policy and put it into an IUL because it has chronic, critical, and terminal illness." Michael's laughing.
Hmm.
He knows where I'm going. So, Armando,
But
are you a fan of Marvel movies at all, like Doctor
yeah, sure.
Strange?
Sure.
Yeah. So Doctor Strange, top doctor, in his profession, world-class surgeon texting and driving, goes flippy flippy, and all of a sudden he's got screws and metal in his hands and he can't do what he used to do. He didn't have a heart attack, he didn't have a stroke, he didn't have cancer. He can still perform all the activities of daily living, he just can't do his job.
Hmm.
Traditional disability covers that. So they call it own occupation. So he could, Dr. Strange, once again, he could go teach but not perform medical surgery anymore, so he could still perform another occupation. But when you talk own occupation, it's a specialized service that others can't do. Dentist is a big one for that. So when you think about it, in the quote here for disability, you've got date of birth, gender, occupation, which is the big one. And you'll also need to know, what their salary is because we base it off of occupation and salary, and if they have any current coverage, so current coverage details, things like that, so or existing coverage. So we can usually stack on top of it and things like that. But
So right now I'm talking to a group. They
mhm,
have 160 doctors,
yep,
and their lowest income it's $1,000 a month
the lowest
because they
income's a
are on
thousand.
a
Okay,
thousand a month. Yes.
that's
So
a
they,
that's a
they
low income for doctors.
yeah, they're starting the practice. They work with low income clients.
Hmm.
So I'm not thinking about the amount of premium that I'm gonna get per client. I'm looking at the group.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, you're fine. So there's a couple things that you can do from that standpoint. So, how many were there again?
They are 300. So doctors, it's 160 around there, but also you can add the hygienist there.
So there's a couple things that you can do. One from
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. It's $1,000 a day, not $1,000 a month.
Yeah, I was gonna say those are real bad doctors.
Yeah. No,
Um,
it's $1,000 a day.
yeah. So
That's
there's a
fact.
couple things that you can consider. Yeah, Michael's like, um,
I was thinking these are
s-
really low income clients,
these are
aren't
No,
they?
no, no, no. It's
these
a
are
thousand
really
dollars a
bad
day.
doctors. It's
Dude,
like
yeah.
Uh,
Dr. Nick from The Simpsons. Hi, everybody. Hi, Dr. Nick. So I'm dating myself. So
Doing
Armando,
doing
with that,
the Lord's work.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, so with that, you have a different type of animal. Okay. So if they're all part of the same practice, you have a couple things that you can do. First off, you have um, on the disability side, you can get group discounts. Okay. So if they're all part of the same organization, you can get group discounts by incorporating all
they
the
are.
doctors and the hygienists. Okay. Now, on the life side, we have, I guess this PDF decided to stop halfway up the screen. That was weird. So, Symetra, one of our carriers, has a multi-life business program. Now, if you think about this, if they're all part of the same practice, right, is not an association, but the same practice, you have the opportunity to get IULs, guaranteed issue. Minimum of 10 eligible employees, up to 250 eligible employees. Okay. So with this, what they base it on is minimum salary is 75K annually. And it sounds like all of them hit that no problem. But let's say you have, because everyone on this call looks relatively healthy, except for me, because thank God you can only see shoulders and up. But let's say everyone can get approved easily at standard or better. I'm not insurable. Well, this would be great for me because it's guaranteed issue. And they're all in the IUL chassis. So number of employees, you have 50 plus employees. It's 75,000 times number of lives, guaranteed issue limits. Okay. So you have the opportunity to cash a lot of checks and snap a lot of necks from that standpoint. So you can talk about executive bonus plans, for the high level executives. You can talk about disability plans, which we could do a census for, but there's a lot of opportunity from that one thing, right? You can
Yeah,
talk about group health, group life, 401ks if they don't
I'm
have them.
I'm doing this after the conversation, after the training that you did, that you said that you worked the whole year for 4 6 policies. That's it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the goal
That's
here.
that's that's really it. I would rather spend my year doing four cases at six figures apiece than 80, 3 and 4 figure cases. It just doesn't make sense. Work smarter, not harder. So, are they based out of Florida too, or
Yes, they are.
okay? Um, so what I would say is that if you want, we can do a presentation for, do you have the ear of the top people or what?
I do have the ear of the top people. Directly to the head.
Aha, aha, ah. So yeah, so in all honesty, there's this avenue for guaranteed issue. From prior trainings, we talked about the pension plans and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different avenues, but it goes back to the right questions. So what are you providing for your employees? From a health benefit perspective, especially now with all the rules changing, you've got also the opportunity to provide either group disability, because we can offer that. You can provide strategic disability policies as well, that are individualized, which I would rather do. But then on top of that, then you also have the pension side or the 401k. So we have three carriers that you can do 401ks with without getting a FINRA license. Okay.
Okay.
Now the 401k assets under management is only like 50 basis points for the year. So when you talk trails, you're not talking a lot. However, if you have, 300 or 200 employees, that can add up, right? But
They have more than 1,000.
okay, so yeah, we'll definitely have a good opportunity there from the 401k side. But then on top of that, if we can, depending on the size of the group, incorporate or integrate other opportunities like the pension side, which stacks on top, then you have the ability to really make some headway. Now, if it's that big of a group, may or may not be able to do it. We might want to go this route instead for the top level executives, but there's a slew of different opportunities that we can look at, to really help them, especially the business owners.
Yeah, I'm thinking about them mostly about the doctors and the hygienists. I'm not thinking about the lower income employees like assistants and front desk.
Well, if you do a 401k, it's voluntary, so everyone has to be included. Okay. But the perk is for every person that you have included, there's a tax deduction or a tax credit that they get for everybody who's in the plan. So it's a line item right off the top for a business deduction. Then people get a voluntary retirement plan. And here's the thing, if they already have one, we can review it and see if we can do better. So if they already have one, and let's say there's millions of dollars in it, and all of a sudden it gets rolled over, you get the rollover comps plus the residual trails and all the other stuff. So there's tons of ways to kind of take advantage of that, but it's just much like with what Tia was saying, it's just asking the right questions. So once you ask the right questions, now you have the opportunity to purge and see what opportunities are available. Ultimately, going back to what I always say, business owners are looking for tax deductions. And if we can provide tax deductions and help them get more opportunities to retain employees as well, then why would we not have the conversation? So
Of
that's
course.
that's the most important part.
Perfect.
So what I would say is, maybe we can set up some time like tomorrow or Friday to kind of dive in, or if you want to see if you can get the ear of the person that you got for next week, we can just do like a quick Zoom with intros and then go from there.
Sure. Um, I would like to have him in the Zoom meeting. He's a little difficult because you know how these people are. Hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
But I'm seeing him on Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
So yeah, because my wife
Well,
it's a part of their employees, so
okay.
we see him
Well,
every single year.
I'll be busy on Thanksgiving, but if we can talk before then,
Of course,
yeah,
we all be busy.
yeah. So no, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I think you're onto something pretty cool there. Um,
Yeah, and I'm not gonna stop there. So that's just the introduction. I know I can go with this. I can go to other kind of professionals. So that's where
yep.
I'm heading. This is just my starting point.
Cooking with gas, man. See, that's
Yep.
and I like what you said in regards to, when I asked, do you know these people? You're like, no. Um,
No, I don't
when
know
you
them.
think about, yeah, when you think about people in the industry that that are not successful is because they're going to sit around and only talk to their friends and family. And next thing you know, once they're done with that, they're out of the business because they don't know how to talk to people.
Actually,
So
I haven't even talked to my friends and families yet. I have
I don't,
spoken with,
I'm not going to. Yeah, they
no,
can come to me if they want to, but I'm not going to them,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I call like 200 people every single day. So
That's awesome. That is
yeah.
awesome, man. So I respect the hustle.
Oh yeah. I'm struggling right now, but you have to see me next year.
I was gonna say, next year is only 2 months away. A month and
That
yeah, 2 months away, we'll say.
that's what I'm saying.
So
Next year.
that's awesome. That's awesome. John, what's going on with you, man?
Not much, Phil. I'm working on a couple of 401k cases. Yeah, and got a question regarding the living benefits, Phil.
Yeah.
I have a client that they had to use the living benefits, and it's from a Transamerica from 2017, and they take out the money for the living benefits, and Transamerica told them they can still keep the policy with the same amount. So I was kind of confused. I mean, are they talking the real thing or?
So what can happen uh is in certain scenarios, like was it a permanent policy or term?
It's IUL.
Yeah. So what they could have done is they could have actually just said take out a loan or something like that. Because there's no free lunch with that, especially with Transamerica. They don't have living benefits like the chronic critical terminal. You typically are buying a LTC rider. So it's a little different compared to unless you they have it for term, they have their LB term policy, but when it comes to their permanent, they don't have the chronic critical and terminal like NLG, Corebridge, and the other ones. So there could be I'd have to see it. You know, it's not that I don't trust people, it's just I don't trust people. Um, so like they could tell you one thing just to say, oh, well, he'll get me something better, and it's not really that. So I'd have to see it in writing, as opposed to rumors and hearsay, because typically what happens is they will reduce your face amount based on what you've taken out. And it's if it's the pay for rider, it's a dollar for dollar reduction. If it's living benefits, then the living benefits is usually a full acceleration. You lose your policy. However, we just don't know unless you got something in writing. So if they're telling you that, I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's where I get confused. I mean, how can they get the same, death benefit with the same target premium? So,
Yeah, they can't.
yeah. So should I let them know that, I mean, get a new illustration, or
Yep, I would get it in writing. I would get proof. So if they took the living benefits, I would love to see how it impacted the policy. If you have the original illustration or something as well, I can kind of pick that apart too and see what riders they had and stuff like that. But typically you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's the riders inside the life insurance are acceleration. They're not just here you go, here's a free policy. So yeah, I doubt that.
okay, all right.
Not calling him a liar, but I'm not calling him truthful either.
I got you.
Yeah.
For the AIG or Corebridge, I mean, if they take out the living benefits, I mean, they can still run the policy.
It depends. So, with AIG and National Life Group, they have similar living benefit stories because they were created by the same guy. Now, in that scenario, what happens is say you have $1 million policy. We'll use the example of one agent who she got breast cancer, and she could accelerate the claim. So her $1 million policy, if she took the claim, it was going to be $400,000. So if she takes the 400,000, that's 100% acceleration, meaning your death benefit goes away. You get the present value of that future death benefit. You're just getting it accelerated to today's value, not, 20 years from now or 30 years from now. So if, for example's sake, the offer came in at 400K for $1 million policy, and she said, I only want 200K. Well, that's a 50% ask on the 100% offer. Therefore, you get 200K in your hand, and you get a 50% reduction of your $1 million. So 200K present value money in your hand and a 500K death benefit, and they would rework the premium to whatever the 500K would be. That's
Okay.
right, Michael.
Sorry, I just
So,
don't understand, you know?
yeah, it's if I
I want
can't
to
have
eat.
my cake and eat it too, then what's the point of the cake? Yeah, you are right. You got
You
you got to
gotta
look
you
at it.
gotta be able to eat it.
It's just behind a glass. You can't eat it. It's there for admiring. But yeah, I always worry, like, and John, kind of going back to, your questioning, some people will say, um, some people will say that you have the opportunity to get that 400K, you should keep 600K. Well, they just have to understand how the calculations work on a discounted benefit versus a pay for rider. So, um, and yeah, Armando, Transamerica has living benefit riders, chronic illness, accelerated death benefit. They do have critical illness on their permanent products.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah. Or when I was there, they did.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that I read it, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to say that they do, so I just looked for it, and they do have living benefits.
Okay. I haven't looked at their products in a while because their fees are ridiculous on their FFIUL. Um, but so I guess Michael, from your standpoint, or Armando, from your standpoint, did you ever hear of a IUL where you can take an acceleration and keep the same death benefit after you've taken it?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
My what I remember is it was a discount approach to the living benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So before I
so
knew
what I
before I truly knew what a discount approach was, but
I know,
I
I
saw that the
know.
death benefit was reduced by more than the uh cash out. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I say, like, John, they could have said, well, you could take a loan on your cash value and keep your death benefit, so then they could have probably misheard that. Like I said, I'm not calling him a liar, but when you're getting information from someone who doesn't know how the products are designed, it can be a little tough. Kind of like when I talk to people, I'm like, "Do you have a permanent policy?" They're like, "Yeah, I have a whole life policy. It's a Allianz IUL." I'm like, "That's a permanent policy, not a whole life." So the terminology from people who aren't in our business, it's a little tougher. So that's why I say, like, if they get that in writing, then I would hold Transamerica's feet to the fire, and if they can't do that, then I'd sue their ass.
yeah.
Because who has more money than insurance companies, right? So,
Eventually you just know the product so well when they tell you like a company, oh, I know exactly what you have. Let me show you. You just
yeah,
I'll just make my own illustration for them. Like this is you can get your own from like ask for an enforce, but this is what you have.
yeah,
And yeah,
That's
so
what I
yeah,
do. That's what I do.
yep. I just haven't, and I appreciate you guys letting me know because I just never sold Transamerica. After they got so there's reasons why I don't like certain carriers. So you'll see kind of behind the curtain, same reason why I don't like certain sports teams, right? They screwed me in some way or another. So when I was working as a multi-carrier specialist for the career agency, um, we were trying to sell a GUL from Transamerica, and then they just shut down shop like that, like nothing. You couldn't place it. If it was issued, you couldn't even place it. So they just immediately shut down, and I think that was just poor uh management. And then, kind of seeing their IULs with all the, like, we could beat, when I was at AIG, we beat their FFIUL at 7.75% with a 6% rate of return on the IULs. It was like astronomically higher fees. So I just never been a fan of their products, so I stayed away. And, Pac Life, I like them as a company. They have great marketing, but the PDX product that they came out with, as we all seen from the Kyle Busch article, is just consistently hurting our industry with the multiplier stories and using them with premium finance cases with people who don't know what they're talking about. So it's ironically, they're both, you know, California companies. So even though Pac Life moved to Nebraska, but when I look at the two companies there, I'm just not a fan of them for just bad practices. And North American is on my iffy list because of their Builder Plus 3 product with the multipliers and the guaranteed, bonuses on the Fidelity proprietary account, which is just crap.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously we all have favorites for a reason. But I think the big thing is that when you look at certain carriers, and again, there's nothing wrong with people getting insurance. The only thing that's wrong is when it's sold improperly, and we all have to pay for it. So sadly, um,
The one thing I can say about Transamerica, because I still have one, but it, my daughter, it's under surrender period, and I still have a 13% cap,
that's not bad.
but it's that you talk about the fees. They have it's like an asset management fee.
Yep.
It's six basis points per month that comes out as a charge from my cash value, and that's what holds up the
It's
higher
kind of like a
caps.
multiplier. It's a
Yeah.
multiplier, secretly. It's ridiculous, but yet people tolerate it because it makes the illustration look sexy, and I'm just like, it's gonna bite us all in the keister later. So
She just turned 16, so I'm just waiting for me to be able to set up a proper whole life for her. Yeah.
see, see, and it's all
Yeah.
anticipation and opportunity. I agree with you. I was pissed off. Like, so when I was at AIG, I would talk about doing vol controlled indexes, but diversify. But it was like a third, a third, and a third between S&P and two vol controlled. Then I went 60, 20, 20, and now I'm just like, the S&P, and I do like, because I just talked to Symmetra today. They're going to do our training next Thursday. They've got a NASDAQ with a 10.25% cap, but it also has a 75 bit bonus for the floor. So they're doing stuff more with the NASDAQ and the S&P because the Putnam's a turd as well. But the first time I really witnessed it was when I had my own annuity. I got the BCA Annexus annuity from Athene, and the five accounts that I had were all 2 year point to points because I wanted to get through 2023, and get past all the crappy years that we thought were going to be. And the only two indexes that hit were the ones that were 68 and like 90% par. The ones that did not hit were 380%, 275, 180. I'm sitting there going like, damn it, like 2 years, you couldn't even produce anything for 2 years. So it's just the proof is in the pudding. And so I actually ate the surrender charge because they gave a bonus. I ate the surrender charge and just put it into the alternative investments, and it's doing great. So, you know, that's the stuff that just pissed me off, like just seeing the volatility controlled indexes. But, I'm not dealing with that crap anymore. I'm just gonna do S&P and NASDAQ if they have it. So it just saves you in the long run. Time and time
Volatility
again.
controlled indexes are trash.
Trash. Actually,
Complete trash.
I think I have it still. Hold on one sec. Michael, you'll love this. So Symmetra, they were showing me the presentation they're gonna do next week. And it was crazy because they actually showed since inception the returns of the volatility controlled indexes.
Yeah.
Sweet mother of God, it
They
was
have all of them.
terrible. A lot of them
You
and
got a
they point
report.
out the carriers too. They what?
Nice. I got to see this
Yeah, give me one sec. I think I have it here.
because I have
Uh,
a report that shows all the since inception,
oh yeah, here it is.
and
Yeah.
it very clearly shows a pattern. There you go.
So
Boom.
once again, when you and Symmetra's in there too. They put their own in there. They're not trying to sugarcoat it or hide it. The Putnam's a turd. JP Morgan's a turd. So when you look at these, it's like, why would you not put in the S&P that has an average over the lifetime of 8 to 10%? I would rather show my illustration rates at 6%. And like, guys, this is probably the most important thing when you think about competition. You're going to have people who will show, North American with a Fidelity account. Look at that. F&G, another turd. Barclays, that was the big thing. Like F&G it brought me to New York City to go see the Barclays desk, and they're talking about this Sector 5 thing, and I'm sitting there going,
Yeah.
you know, pay setter, there was a RICO Act
Garbage.
against a pay setter. Look at that thing. 5.22 negative. So
Well,
so when you see all this,
you know what's disgusting is on the illustration they'll show 11% historical return, like, and
oh, it's garbage.
you just mislead the client thinking they're going to get 11% when it's like, no, this thing has never performed. Never. It's
Yeah.
negative.
Yep. And I mean this one not bad. I mean like 10% since launch. That's cool.
The 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 question is when was launch?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I say. It's all questionable, but I mean that's when you talk the bell curve, that's at the farthest end of the bell curve with all the other ones just sputtering along. So even the MLSB, now I'm not gonna lie, I have some 14 percenters in MLSB for my boys who have the Max Q product because I did 60/20/20 and I had it with the PIMCO, and that's saying since launch. But once again, a lot of this can be considered cherry picking too, because if, like, for example's sake, Michael, you bought a policy today and I bought one tomorrow, you might get a 12% return. I might get a two or a zero. So it just depends on the structure. So I do take this with a grain of salt, but on the same token, it just goes back to the point of doing the S&P and things like that. Just makes way more sense. So
Yeah.
but I'll let Symmetra talk about this next week. Tomorrow we have NLG talking about they have added a actual chronic illness rider that you can buy, dollar for dollar reduction. They have a simplified quick issue protection product to compete with Mutual of Omaha's protection product, and they also updated their Flex Life. So I'm going to give them the floor tomorrow to do their dog and pony show, and see what they can kind of come up with. But so yeah, a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff. I know we bounced around a little bit, but
They've been modifying that plan from National Life Group like every single week.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, it's everywhere because I mean, and let's be honest, all the MLMs, except for a couple, really tout NLG as their bell cow carrier. Because I mean, Armando, you know this, Florida NLG owns Florida. With all
I
the
didn't
foreign
know.
nationals. Oh, you didn't? Oh,
No.
I got my ass kicked in Florida because they would take the ITINs only. They'd take the Venezuelan refugees. They would take everything. And in Corbridge, we're like, no, we're not taking that. We're not taking that. So it was just like I basically lost my shirt in Florida when I was working there. So when you talk about it, like NLG is with the PHP, PFG, all these MLM groups, they love National Life groups. So and it's really funny because I can see the analytics. Michael, you like this too. I see the analytics from my YouTube channel of people who watch my videos. I did a training on the NLG products 2 years ago. It's still my number one video, top watched. And that just tells me that a lot
Yeah.
of people have it, but a lot of people aren't educated because they're not getting trained on it, that they're looking for extra help.
I have two NLG videos. One is a complete illustration breakdown, and the other one is going over the lawsuit. And
Oh,
those are the two videos that constantly they just keep getting views.
yep, it's unbelievable.
They trickle
So
in. Yeah.
yeah. Well, eventually, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. What we're planning on doing is I just put a significant investment in on white labeling Valor back office. So with that will come a community with learning management systems. So all the YouTube stuff that I have is eventually going to go behind the locker, if you will. So I'm not just giving it away for free. I'm not going to monetize YouTube. It's just not going to happen. So I'll just
Yeah.
put clips up and shorts and then say, if you want to learn more, come to Valor because, it's getting old. But in any event, I know we went a little over. Any last questions, anything like that, or you guys tired? I know Tia looks like she's ready to fall asleep. I'm sorry, Tia. I'm sorry. She's like, no, I'm learning. It's awesome. Just like picking up people. John looks like he's ready to fall asleep. So I'll put this up on the YouTubes in case you want to see it again, hear the monotone magic. And any questions at all, feel free to give me a holler. And as always, appreciate you guys, the dedicated, the hardcore. We'll be on tomorrow, NLG 4 o'clock Central, and appreciate you guys. We'll see you. All right,
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Night.
see you guys.
Thanks.
Have a great night,
Bye.
guys.
You too.